All right, man. Dude, what do I call this thing, first of all? Is this like Siah, where you at?
Yeah,
The
pretty
podcast?
much. Yeah.
Dude, I think that's the way to go about it, really. But I mean, I guess that's a whole conversation for another time. But this is cool. I'm glad we're doing this.
Oh yeah, I'm hyped.
I was talking to my girlfriend earlier this morning. I'm like, it's always like talking to Peter is like it's a good grounding thing. I feel like we always get lost in some like positive conversation that always
Yeah.
like plays off. And those are like the friends that I'm trying to keep around. So let's get into it, bro.
Sweet.
Um, yeah, man. I don't know. I've had some things on my mind that I wanted to talk about in general, just in my own life, because I feel like the whole idea with this podcast, the more that I think about it, if it is called Siah, where you at, which I think it is, um, I think it's also kind of like reminiscent about like where I'm going with things.
Mm.
Because like I still am trying to figure this whole thing out, and I think
Mm.
that's a really cool thing to be able to, you know, express to others. It's like I don't know what's the right way to go. Like I
Yeah, I think it's weird because like we grow up thinking like, oh, our parents know everything and like we're gonna follow our parents, and then like you get to a certain point in life where I don't know, like probably like elementary school, late elementary school, middle school, where you start realizing like other people's parents run things differently in the house, and like then you start realizing that there's things outside of like what your parents taught you, like,
right.
oh, and then like you kind of start realizing that like, yo, our parents probably know as much as the next person at.
Right? I can't tell like the exact age that was, but I remember that too. Getting that like awakening moment where you're kind of like, "Oh, no one knows what's going on. No one understands what this thing is."
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mean it's an interesting thing. But I think that's a cool place to actually go now that you've brought that kind of topic up about how you and I got connected, cuz I think
Yo, yeah.
that's an awesome story. So I'll tell you what I remember about it, and you tell me what you remember.
Okay.
I remember following you because of first working with Yoko, and I
Mm.
feel like that's one of the funniest things. So Yokohama, Southwest Florida, awesome singer. Um, we were talking, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy Lemieux," and then I see your name more and more, and I'm like, "Damn, this guy's crazy." Because I think for when I started with music production, a lot of it was like based on like guitar, and like it was based on real instruments. It was based on like me trying to get better at my instruments and then
Mm.
figuring out what I could do with it. And when he was showing me some of your stuff, that like Michael Jackson, yet like futuristic, like I don't know, it just struck a chord with me. I was like, what the heck is this? And like why? How do I not know this guy? And so a couple of days later, um, what was it? You posted something on Instagram? No,
Yeah, and then you hit me up or something, or vice versa. It was
it
one of
was
those.
vice versa. I think it was that way. So yeah, because I posted the quote from Krishnamurti, but
Mm.
I forget how we started following each other. But
Yeah.
I think you followed me first, maybe,
Yeah, because I
because
started seeing your name around too.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was, because it was one of those things where like I kept hearing your name and I'm like, how do I get to know this guy? He seems like someone that would be good to like talk to one day. And then all of a sudden you followed me and I was like, what? And I was like, okay, cool. Let's rock it. And then yeah, I mean, one of my favorite authors, Krishnamurti, like it's always gonna be someone. I just bought another one of his books like last week.
Yeah.
Always something that I'm gonna turn back to throughout my whole life. And I remember quoting something from him that day, which was funny because oh, dude, it's all coming back to me because I was talking to a friend of mine at work
Yeah.
about this certain thing about life, and I remembered a quote from him, and so I posted that same quote on my story on Instagram, and you responded, and you knew exactly who it was, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like to be in that place where, dude, because I remember how my like you want to know how my Krishnamurti journey started? It
Mm.
started me sitting in the garage, smoking a little bit of weed, not
Mm.
knowing what the heck I was gonna do with my life or what really mattered or if everything that I like learned growing up was what I wanted to carry with me. Kind of that same thing. Like, is this that thing that leads my whole life, or do I kind of choose? Right? Do I choose? And so Christian Murray is always such an impactful person on me. And then to see someone else know that, because I can't tell you how many times I bought that book for like random people, like, hey, you might like this, even if they had like a little inkling of like, what are you reading? Who is that? Just like, I'll buy that book. Yeah. And so for you to reach out and know that, I was like, this is dope. And then we talked for like 2 hours on Instagram that night.
Yeah, man. And I think it was, I always relate to anybody that follows any type of like philosophy and stuff, because like usually what it tells me is that like whatever they learned growing up, as well as religion, wasn't enough to like cover their moralities or like the way that they viewed life. So then like you start exploring a little bit more and you start finding out about all these philosophers, and like philosophers that really like make you question a lot of stuff. Even like if you've heard of Nietzsche, like you start reading some of Nietzsche, which is like, you know, some of his dark stuff, but like you end up learning some from it anyways.
I have a Nietzsche tattoo on my leg.
Like, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That was the type of thing. And like every time, it's like high up on my leg and not too many. Like, I don't know. I am known for wearing like running shorts and people see it and they're like, the heck do you have? Because it's in Greek. Mm-hmm. But it's from, dude, I totally slacked on my whole Nietzsche journey. I like read his, like the biography of him. Mm-hmm. And I was really into that, and I never read anything else. But there was,
bro, yeah, he has a ton of different books that are like super interesting. But again, like you can, if you see his documentary, I forgot where it's at, but his documentary talks about his story. But it's also interesting that he starts somewhere, and then as he grows up and as he experiences other things, you start seeing his like ideas kind of evolve. And then on top of that, you also I forgot which book it was he was writing last. But it was kind of more towards the end where he was kind of getting more like pessimistic and like kind of losing his mind a little bit more. Yeah. And like, so it's like, I haven't read every single one, but like I've seen the beginning of it. I've seen the end of it. So you kind of seeing like the contrast is kind of super interesting.
I definitely, and maybe, I'm going to write this down on my little notes. Maybe get back to him. But the quote I wrote down from him was, there are two things that prevent a man from reaching his true self: fear or laziness. And
it's so true.
And so in that part of the book, there was so much talk about his like Greek affinity, like towards their culture and everything. And I've always had a thing too, and I was like, fuck it. So I got it in Greek, and I got fear or laziness on there. Mm-hmm. And it was just always
going pick.
And it's just like, and it's pointing to myself. And it's just a thing of like, I don't do it as habitually as I should, but every time I look at that, I just am remembered about like, there's two things. You're gonna like, and that's what it's weird that it comes down to, and I catch myself getting caught up in is like, how many like different ways you can paint a situation to be like, but this one is different. Like this fight, this you know,
this is the hit song, bro.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. So there's so many different things of like, this is, you don't understand, but it's like, nah, it's pretty simple. There's fear, there's laziness. Which thing are you letting?
Yeah.
But that was cool, and that was cool because like I feel like, I don't know, and I think because I don't know. I don't, like, how do you view it? Do you move through life saying that you, like, do you know what you believe in? Like, the framework?
Nah, because I think, like, everybody, well, most people will have, like, a general painting of reality that they see. But, you know, you can either choose to keep developing that and keep exploring knowledge, but a lot of people choose not to. You know, they'll just kind of like be satisfied. They think that they understand the world and they just kind of live in that own bubble. Yeah. But I also like, you know, huge like Bruce Lee fan, you know, when he talks about water, like you should be like water, you know, I think that's a huge philosophy for me just because like, you know, water adapts to every situation. And not just that, but every time I'm learning I feel like the more you learn, especially if like you start learning into like, you know, hidden knowledge and just like old knowledge, like you can't take all of that as like complete truths. And I feel like any time I'm researching anything or reading about anything, I don't take anything as like, oh, this is the truth. Like I'll resonate with things, and I think that I'll probably attach something into my morals or way of viewing the world, but I don't ever think of one thing as like the absolute truth. Yeah. And I think that that's what like lets me be able to like explore really crazy ideas and religions and everything without kind of getting lost in it. Because I feel like there's a lot of people, they'll like, especially people that are into conspiracy theories, right? Like I feel like people that are into conspiracy theories, they'll like read something about it and it'll just convince them, and they're like, nah, this is the truth and I believe it and blah blah blah. And like it may be very convincing and everything, but at the end of the day, it's like, is that helping anything? Is that helping anybody? Is that like what is this going to do for you? Like, you know, you got to understand what that content is going to do for your life. Exactly. The most important thing, you know. So whenever I'm reading anything, I always kind of try to take it as a grain of salt and just like understanding that that information came from one person's point of view, and that point of view could be skewed and biased and everything. But I feel like that no matter what, I still resonate with certain things, and I just like take it in, let it live there, but also know that something's going to come in and probably change my mind eventually, and then kind of like adapt, you know, because I feel, I don't know, man, you shouldn't be attached to any idea or religion like very like closely. Like you can resonate with a lot of ideas, but that's the thing about this world. It's like you shouldn't, I'm not attached to an idea like, oh, I'm a Buddhist or I'm a Christian or like something like that, because that and every time you do that, it kind of narrows your worldview. It kind of is like, oh, well, if you're going to be a Catholic or you're going to be this, then that means you can't believe in this and this and this and this and this. Like it automatically starts cutting things out of your life that somebody thousands of years ago decided that was the truth. You know what I mean?
And that's the same thing with like a worldview. Like it's that same thing. It's like why build anything that you look through? Like why? Mm-hmm. And that's like the more that I pay attention to those things, I don't know, the better it is. I bring the whole thing up because I was going to say, like, meeting you and forming that connection is kind of like a thing that happens in my life. Mm-hmm. Like, meeting the right person at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I've always, like, it was one of those things that my mom said. My mom would always be like, that's God. God put you those people in your life. Like, my dad passed away when I was 15, and when I was 16, I met an older brother who was, like, 26. Like, this one guy, and his younger brother was 22, and they worked at a CrossFit gym, right? Mm. And they just, like, adopted me. Just, like, helped give moral guidance, helped give support, but, like, people that were, like, ruthlessly loving and caring for me at that time. Yeah. When it came to me, like, deciding to make music, Nate came into my life, and Brendan came into my life, and then Wonder came into my life, then Cappy, and all these beautiful things. Like, does that happen by accident?
No, you know? I think it's like, it's definitely law of attraction, right? And like, it's so, sometimes it's funny because I was at a studio session, like, I don't know, when I first moved to Virginia, and like me and this kid started talking about law of attraction, and he was trying to convince me that I didn't know how law of attraction worked and that he did. What's funny is that this whole conversation started with him telling me that he drives drunk all the time, but because he doesn't think about like getting caught or being arrested, that he's not ever going to be arrested. And that's why he's never gotten a DUI and like all this shit. And I'm like, bro, you're thinking about it differently. Like, to me, is like you subjecting yourself to drinking and driving, you're putting yourself at risk at that possibility to even happen in your life. Okay. So like going back to what you were saying is like, you wanted to do music. So what did you do? You didn't like, you just literally started doing it. And by starting to doing it, you started attracting the things that you wanted in your life. You know, you started attracting these musicians and like other people into your life that are doing the same thing because you're kind of wanting that community and you're reaching out to that community and doing those things, you know? So like sometimes when people like, they're like, oh, well, what should I be doing? Or like, whatever. I'm like, well, are you going out? Like, are you going out to meet people? Are you reaching out to people that do the same things that you want to do? Or are you just staying at home and making music? Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. I'm not really. Yeah. It takes a little bit more than just doing the music, right? And you reached out.
Yeah. So here's a good question then, because this segues into like the first thing that I wrote down for the day, or to like talk about, is like priorities, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and your priorities and managing stuff. Like, isn't it weird when you really pick up on where your time goes? You know what I mean? When you realize that that one friend that wants to catch up that you haven't seen for a year sounds like fun, but like 5 hours or 3 hours just sounds like the worst thing in general.
That's that nostalgia, bro.
Bro, it's something I'm going through in my life right now that I'm trying to navigate through like calmly, but it's not calm.
Like what's worth your time right now?
Yeah, cuz I mean, I'm 23. I want to be creating as much as possible. So I don't want to be working a job. I want to be making music. I want to be creating. And I also want to be healthy. Like, there's some pounds I could lose. There's some better habits that I could have. And all of these things, like, they matter so much more than, you know, the little things that come up in my life. But then, like, I always think when I hear about, like, time management or something, I always hear about, like, Kanye. Because, like, I don't know about you, but I love Kanye. And so, like, at the very beginning, dang, you're frozen right now, man.
No.
What did you end up saying? Did you say you're a fan of Kanye?
Yeah, I fuck with Kanye for sure.
So, like, I'm sure you probably heard, like, the story of his friends saying, like, he didn't get a haircut for weeks. He was just in his room. He didn't talk to nobody. You know? How many beats a day for 3 summers?
Yeah,
you
right.
know, like, this was all just a thing that I heard a lot growing up. And then when it actually came into practice, it was like, oh, you really do have to say no to a lot of things. And that's just been, I mean, that's just a everyday thing for me. But I think one of the things that it boils down to is, like, all the things that I want to get better at. There's so many things, right? There's so many different things that I want to strive after in my own life. And it's just trying to, like, figure out my priorities. So how do you go about figuring out what's most important to you? Because I feel like
my strategies change a little bit as I go, because like I feel like when I first really started like working with PayUp, I was pretty much like only working with them, and then like as I became more confident, I was like, ooh, well, like now I can do this as a thing, you know, and then kind of started working with more people. But I still knew that I had to make like a name for myself, or at least like validate that I'm a producer or something.
And so for the people that don't know, PayUp being...
Yeah. So PayUp is this group in Fort Myers. It was composed of 3 guy rappers and 1 girl rapper, Sherelle. The other guys were Andre, which is known as Andre DeSaint now, Jay, who went by Mouth, and then Elton, who went by Els at the time. So I discovered them through my friend Tim. He was like, hey, you should really work with them. He had just found out I was moving to Fort Myers. So then I kind of started working with them, but I just like making music. It wasn't that I was like, oh, I need to work with people, you know, like I love doing music, and I feel like the best way for me to grow was to just create music with other people. Cause like I didn't come from a background of making music by myself, right? So I came from a background of making music in a band. So that was completely different as to just producing by yourself. Like I always needed that feedback. So after I kind of like got something going with PayUp, and then I won a music production competition with Paris, and like, you know, as things kind of kept growing, I definitely started becoming more aware of where I wanted to direct my time. And not just that, but like at a certain point I also was like, well, I don't want to do too much trap stuff, and I don't want to do, you know, I kind of started setting rules for myself of like, hey, I'm not going to take every single session that comes my way for money, you know, because I feel like at a certain point I was taking every session that was coming my way to make ends meet, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until I felt like I started getting my bigger placements and I started working with people that I really wanted to do music with, where I kind of started being able to be more selective. And I started being like, okay, how does this benefit me? And how does this is going to push me forward, right? So even now, like back then I was producing for so many random people. And if you even look at my playlist, you can kind of see the growth, like on my Spotify playlist. If you go all the way to the bottom and like kind of listen to it all from the bottom up, you can kind of see my movement from like the pay up stuff into like a little bit more like trap R&B stuff, and then into a little bit more pop stuff, and then like slowly it's just been like a little bit everywhere. But I think that has to do with me just being more specific of like, yeah, I want to do more of this, I want to do more of that. But then even now, you know, me and you talked about this when we first talked a lot of like, hey, like I feel like I'm getting kind of stuck kind of producing for everybody, and everybody wants to meet up with me and do music, and like, you know, it's cool and everything, but at the end of the day is like, hey, that is your time. You know, is that something that you really need in your life? You know, I can understand if you need to build a portfolio, but even you are getting to the point now where, you know, a good amount of people in your town have worked with you. They've had their own success. So it's kind of like, all right, should you really be working with a bunch of people, or should you be just focused on those people that you started building with, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly where I've been at. Like, I was literally just having this conversation with Cappy 2 days ago about advice and like trying to backtrack like his history with it all, because that's where he started, was people in his bedroom, you know? And where I'm at, it's not like I've even worked with everyone in there. I've worked with like 5, 6.
Yeah, but those are people that you want to work with.
That I've wanted to work with, and it's been good. And now I'm at the place where people are hitting me up, and I, you know, also know in the back of my head, like, I've got a website I'm trying to work on. I want to do a podcast.
Exactly.
I want to just pick which damn days out of the week that I want to drop YouTube videos consistently. There's so many things. And it's hard, man. And here's another thing. I'm fucking broke. Like,
so you got to work, you know what I mean?
So it's like, I have my part-time job, which is great. But I could still use some extra bread. And so it's like, do I want to spend time working with so-and-so local rapper for a couple $100, or do I want to put 5 hours into myself? Like, I canceled on hanging with Brendan tonight. With Brendan. And like, Brendan's one of my favorite people in the world. Like, that's just like my brother.
Yeah, but you feel like you got things to do, you know what I mean?
But you want to know what my plans are for... Okay, I mean, I do have a lot of production stuff. First, we've got this podcast that I'm going to have to edit at some point. I filmed a video with Marlavacci and Cappy yesterday. Nice. So, and the beat was wild. So I got that video to edit. And I figured out my whole scheme with like how I'm editing it for every platform. So that's amazing. Still have to be like tried and true with the practice up. And then I want to play some video games for like 2 hours. Because I've done nothing but like stress out about shit for the last couple of days. And it's like, I would love to hang with Brendan, and it would be a lot of good conversations, and it would be a lot of catching up and, you know, inspirational stuff to just see that dude's journey, you know, but I also just want some time for myself, you know, and so it's one of those things. I don't know. I wrote priorities down too, because I also got a fucking group chat named after me not wanting to play basketball with anyone because there's 7 of them in there. It's like Wonder and June and Yoko, and everyone's just, it's called like Siah's not even gonna make it, or Siah can't come. I'm like, because y'all want to hit me up on like the nights where I have stuff planned. Like, and that's a hard thing too, bro, is one of the biggest things I gotta work on is saying no. Yeah. So it's like, I know time management is one of the biggest things that I gotta work on, but I gotta even get better at saying no. Cause I'll get excited,
hard,
dude.
bro.
I'm an excited person, man. I'm always gonna be a little kid in my heart till the day I die, bro. And so when someone hits me up, I'm like, yes, I would love to hang out with you. And then 30 minutes later, I'm like, fuck. And so it's just one of those things, like, I don't know. And the hardest part, and I'm sure that you could relate to it, is no one sees it but you. Not your girlfriend, not your mom, not, your pen pal from fucking overseas. No one sees it but you. No one knows what you're capable of, or what you want to chase after, or what those minutes do. It was like yesterday morning. I don't know why. I just like spaced out and I wrote like my musical keys out for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. G, A, B, C, D, F sharp. Like I'm just like going through here. And I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? I'm like, because one day I'm going to need to know the key signature and what key we're in. And it's because of this little moment that it mattered. I think for me, too, is practice. And I feel like this is like a little sneak peek. I want to share this guy with you just in case you've never seen it. But
Okay.
one of the guys who's been like a huge inspirational person in my life online has been this gentleman, Matt Diavella.
No, I don't think I've seen him.
So he's a minimalist, right? So he lives a very like simple life with the certain things that he lets in his life, and he's a creative.
I know,
right?
I know exactly. Yeah, because he was in that minimalism documentary.
Yeah, he made that documentary, Minimalism.
And he's not in that podcast too, the Minimalists.
He's not in that podcast, but he's friends with them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And he has his own podcast. But he has a YouTube channel, and like I joined, he had like 400,000 subscribers back in November, and shit blew up, and he's at like 1.4 now. He's killing it. But he's making meaningful content, and like his stuff has got me super inspired. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I want to start incorporating in my own life, is like I just love creating in general. And one of the things I would like to create is like a short film, and it be about the art of practice. Right? So like, I don't know, man. I had a weird growing up. I moved every 2 years until 5th grade. So I never knew.
Crazy.
I never knew habits. I never knew like routines. Like I would get adjusted somewhere, we'd be gone. 'Cause 2 years, like 6 months, you're dreading moving to the next place. 6 months, you're unpacking and getting used. So you're there for like a year, and then you move, and you know that that's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
And so like my whole life was that, and because of that stress, my parents blessed me with whatever, and I had amazing parents. So if I wanted to play baseball, they bought me the best baseball glove.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play soccer, they bought me brand new cleats, which was very loving. But there was also two things that I missed out on there. There was one that I thought I needed something to like get better at whatever. And I also didn't associate what time spent towards something looked like. Like because I was never in a place for the same season, so I never played the same sport more than once. Right? And I never was in the same group of people to be interested in something, but there was always one thing, it was music. Music always shifted with me. It was piano lessons, it was drum lessons, it was grabbing a guitar and teaching myself guitar. It was all of these things. But like the one thing I never really clicked on was the art of practice.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm still associating with myself in life. And there's always that like stigma or that thing out there that's like, if you try to learn an instrument when you get older, it's not going to happen. Or like the best years to learn something new is when you're 8 years old. And like what I think it more so is like your ability to just focus on one thing and your ability to be okay without thinking about expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like for me, I've been playing guitar since 6th grade. I've only had a teacher for a semester in high
Same.
school,
Yep.
and that was it. And then the rest has been self-taught and like doodling around here and there. And I'm still not that good. I still only know my minor pentatonic scale. I still know a little bit of my major scale, and that's it. And I go by ear, and I play around, but like, it's not gonna get better on its own.
No,
and
and
it's
I
not
feel
gonna get.
there's a ton of people now, bro. There's a culture now of just like thinking that you're gonna get good at something really quick. Like, and especially if we move that into like the artists that are using autotune, for example, right? Like, just to use an example, like I had an artist the other day comes in, she's a rapper, right? But she's like, hey, I want to try this song where I sing. She doesn't practice singing. She doesn't do warm ups, none of this stuff, And then we sitting there spending like 2 hours trying to track this one song that she's not sounding good on, and she's getting upset at herself, and she's just getting frustrated during this whole experience. And I'm not trying to bring her down, but I'm trying to be like, hey, this isn't sounding good, and I'm not a mean person, but I'm trying to like let her know, like, hey, like maybe we should come back to this or something, because like you don't seem to be hitting those notes, because like, and then autotune is doing this, it's sounding all crazy, because like you got to at least be close to the note.
In the range.
Yeah, you got to be in the range, and like she just was all over the place, so I feel like there's that mentality that like, oh, I'm only gonna do this once or twice, or I got this one time, so next time I'll get it again, instead of just like having that habit of practicing every day or an hour a day or just something, and I feel like a lot of this generation expects everything so fast that like practicing and focusing on something doesn't, like, it happens so slowly for somebody to develop a skill that people don't have like the patience for that, right?
Yeah, and the thing is too, man, is like it's set up like to be false. Like when you see like the overnight successes, or you see that like this happened so quickly because they did this.
Mm-hmm.
What is that person after? Mm-hmm. Like they may have some attention, they may not have to worry about bills. Mm-hmm. But are they able to get through their day to day? And I'm not saying that that's the case with everybody, but we're also people. Mm-hmm. We're all still humans trying to deal with this whole life thing. So what's to say that overnight success is a good answer,
or
that
good thing? It could be detrimental for you, bro. Yeah, exactly. Because like you just went. This is a super example. You just went from recording a hit song in your bedroom, right? Next day you're having a tour. I'm being mad, exaggerating, but next day you have the tour, and then you're expected to like be able to keep up on tour, and then you're supposed to like be a good performer, and you're supposed to be able to handle a crowd, and then it's just a lot. You're supposed to be able to interact with it's just like a lot of stuff that people don't think about, and like. Yeah. You get put in that situation, and then you make a fool of yourself because, like, damn, I really don't know how to perform in front of thousands of people. I mean, I really don't know how to get into a studio with like a legend and not be nervous about it and believe in myself and just be confident in the moment. It's just a lot of stuff that gets put on the table, and like all these kids think that they could just record a song with autotune, they blow up, and then it's easy breezy. It's like, nah, bro. It's like even before all of that, there's people that were just performing. And I feel like the art of performance is getting lost. You know what I mean? Not getting lost, but it's just like, at least in certain circles of people, they think that the performance is just secondary. They think that the social media and like your song is number one, but really as a musician, you should be very focused on your live performance, And that used to be the focus, like people used to want to like dress up crazy and like, I don't know if you followed Marilyn Manson's stories, but like he used to like pick up chicken guts and shit and bring them into his performance, and like in the middle of his performance, they'd get thrown into the crowd and people would be like, oh, what the fuck? But like it was a memorable experience, whether it was a good thing or not, right? But it's the same thing. It's like you should be focused on your performance, and that's what's gonna like help get more fans. And like, obviously you can believe that I'm just going to use social media and I'm going to blow up doing that, which kids have done it. but they just, you know, fall short sometimes when it comes to like performing and social skills and like being able to handle a ruthless business like the music industry, you know.
Yeah. So to
It's a
sum
lot.
it up, get some chicken guts
Yeah.
and you're set.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, man. And I mean, I honestly feel quite centered recently about everything.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like that's why we're even having this phone call, because I'm kind of understanding what I need to do. I just need to do the things
Hmm.
because I love doing the things, and it's not because I believe we're gonna record one podcast and it's gonna get 10 views.
Hmm.
It's because I love doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I love having this conversation. I love walking away from this and taking that energy into the rest of my day.
Hmm.
I love having Millie and Cappy over and trying to set up this crazy studio workspace on my desk here and film and try to figure this all out because it's fun, because I enjoy that. And I think circling back to like that one time that we were talking about where I was putting a lot of my energy towards other people, where you kind of miss the point is like, that's all the energy that you could have put towards yourself.
Hmm.
And I think for me, some of those times it was like, well, working with this person might turn out to be a really good song. Maybe we could finally quit working and keep making more music. Maybe this will work. I don't know. It's a lot of different looking at one situation and again painting it in a different way.
Yeah.
Instead of just realizing like, okay, maybe these hours should go towards myself. And then moving from there,
Yeah, because I feel
there's
like
clarity, you know?
there is, and like something that I've always as a kid wanted to do was help people, right? And the more I think about it, you know, that's the way I went. And, you know, I decided that I wanted to help these people get somewhere, and I'm good at what I do, so I'm going to help them with this and whatever, right? And that's cool, but like I feel like even after me doing what I've done, I'm still like, hey, I want to help people on an even deeper level. Like I want to be able to reach more people than I'm reaching, right? So like that's why when we talked about doing a podcast or anything like that, it's been something that's been on my mind because I feel like there's so much just from having discussions with my friends that comes out of it that you don't know how it's going to affect the next person, you know? And I feel like mediums like this are becoming more popular, and like long format podcasts and like all that's becoming more popular. Because I think people are getting more meaning out of it and they're getting more value out of it instead of like, and I just feel like I can't help a person as much as I could just by like putting out music, and I can, and like that will save somebody, and that's completely, you know, that's why we do music, right? Because we're still wanting to resonate with people and everything. But I feel like this whole side of being an artist and like giving value like we are like this, I think it's super important, bro. I think that this could help way more than just music, than putting out music, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just such a beautiful opportunity to be in this time, I guess, in life, because it's not always been that way, and it's a privilege to be in a space, because it's like it's almost, when you think about it, like right now is like the biggest time where you could be made to look weak from being vulnerable, right? So like someone slips up, haha, this person did this, you're a meme, you're this, it's all over. But it's also kind of the most beautiful time to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because there's so many avenues, whether you take that in a YouTube video, you express a little bit in a tweet, you do a podcast, you know, it's trying to express these things. Because I think, dude, okay, so I'll tell you about this. Like, truthfully, I started making YouTube videos in like 9th grade. I made like Call of Duty videos. And I was like, I'm going to make video game videos, but I'm also going to connect with my audience. And then I got turned off because I got made fun of a lot for it. And I just like, I immediately shut off from it. And then I was like, but there's still something to this YouTube thing. Like what I want. And like, I've been chubby since like high school. And so I was always like, I had my CrossFit days. I lifted a lot. But there's still always this journey, and it's still here and present today, of like reaching my optimum health. And like, I always wanted to document that. Like, I wanted to film with like a trainer of mine the whole situation of going from where I'm at today to being healthy. But then I always thought about like, what if I don't get there? And what if I don't get there? But what if I get there and the only reason I got there was because I filmed it and did it for other people?
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to get better at my health, or if I wanted to get better at music, am I doing it for getting better's sake, or am I doing it for this piece of content? And I think that was the thing that I struggled with for a long time, because I'm like, if I can't do this on my own, why am I doing it for just other people?
Yeah.
Like, if I can't do it for like the love of making myself a better person, or because I love myself, how am I going to love other people and help other people?
Yeah.
And then where I don't know, I feel like I've finally come to the place where like, there's this, again, I'm going to say it for the third time, there's so many different ways to color a situation. Like, I like doing this, even though I don't have it figured out. I like being able to open up about where I want to be and where I'm at and what I'm struggling with. And all of these things to hopefully one day be a step further in the right direction. And hopefully maybe one of those insights helped one other friend. And even if it's just us helping each other, like, that's the beautiful thing. It's like, I don't know, it's a cool place to be in. And I think where I'm just trying to get at, and I think where we should probably wrap this, is I'm just thankful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thankful for all the beautiful people in my life. I'm thankful for being able to, you know, kind of like you said, I've always had that weight on my heart of like, I want to help other people. But being able to unite the goals of making music, helping people as one thing, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I can do it in so many different ways, and I can create, and I can have fun, and I can give advice, and I can hopefully make some sort of impact in someone's life. Like, that's it. That's the ticket. That's the thing that I have written up right there that I got from listening to a podcast. It says process, and it says the process itself is the destination.
Exactly. It's so important, bro.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where I've started to get at, is like, I don't dread sitting down to edit a YouTube video. Like, sometimes I dread making music or getting to the keyboard or whatever, but like, the process really is the thing that's the most fun.
Yeah, man.
Like, I love being upset at myself for not playing the guitar, Snapchatting it to a buddy, and then it becomes a song with Nate. Right?
Yeah.
That shit's the stuff that matters.
Yeah, man.
But yo,
it's the experience.
Let's wrap this thing up, because it's been like probably 40 some minutes.
Hey, it's not bad for a first little
Not
podcast
bad.
thing.
Not bad for a first at all. I think we got to do this a little bit more consistently. I think this is gonna be a thing. This is fun. This is cool, and I think it's the right. I don't know. It's the right starting place to like really try to anchor in on these ideas.
Oh yeah, and like even just talking about it, because like I've been thinking about how I wanted to do my YouTube channel, And I don't know. I feel like I've been thinking about it to like format it like, oh, it's got to be these and these type of videos, whatever. But I think I've been leaning more towards making it more just like a journal type of thing where it's like, yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
today I'm making music and, oh, today I just want to talk about this. And, oh, today, you know, I feel like it's going to be way easier to do that than just be like very like.
And that's what I've gotten into as well. And, you know, off camera / audio, we can really get into all the different ways I'm going about it. But like, I think that's where I'm at. It's just like, it is a journal, and I'm not trying to think of a certain person every time I make a video.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to put out good content.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are intrigued by like the 30 seconds of goofy footage I leave in, like me and my friends, then yes, like join in. If
Yeah.
you enjoy me ranting for 3 minutes to the camera about what I'm scared of or what I'm trying to work on in my own life, then thank you, you know? But I think there's way too many people out there in the world to try to cater to a specific person, you know, and try to think it has to look exactly this way. And like, that's the same thing. Like I released my website yesterday. 2 of the pages are blank. 2 of the pages say coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, what am I going to do? Let this website just sit?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no. Let's do it and let's fill this bitch up. Let's do it. Let's post it. Let's say podcast coming soon and let's do it the next day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's that energy. I'm getting too
good,
wild
bro.
up, bro. I need to
though.
do some stuff. But anyways, bro, it was good talking to you. So what are
Bro.
you going to LA for?
I'm gonna go work at AV conference for a couple of days, and then I'm working with Naya Sultana. That
Okay.
song that I have out, Positions.
Interesting.
Freaking dope.
That's going to
Yeah,
be
man.
awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm hyped.
That's going to be a good trip. I need to get out there soon. I haven't been to LA.
Necessary, bro.
Dude, I might try to do it within like the next month.
Yeah, but you gotta go for like a couple weeks at least, or a month or something.
Well, Cappy's going to be out there for 3 weeks doing
Yeah.
sessions. And Nate's out there now. And Chris Catlin's out there now.
Dang,
So I
they
kinda
moved out
just-
there too.
Yeah.
Nate and
Yeah.
Chris moved out there. Dang.
Bro, I want to move out there. But I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. For another time. So anyway, thanks for agreeing to do this, even though it took us a little bit to
Oh,
get it
cool,
set
man.
up. But it worked.
Oh, we gonna smooth this out, bro.
Oh, we gonna polish it. One day, this thing gonna be looking like a shiny little pearl.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bro. It was good talking with you. Have a great trip, my dude.
We'll do,
And
bro.
till next time,
All right, man. Take it easy,
we'll
bro.
figure it out. See you, bro.
Peace. I'm about to send you this too.
Yeah. You don't have to actually end it.